All right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm really excited to have Mike here. Mike, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me here.
You've been working in the roofing industry for over 20 years.
Yeah, I'll celebrate my 21st anniversary come next June. It's been a wild ride and it's been very enjoyable. A lot to learn. Still a lot more to learn.
Do you have people around you that is part of the roofing industry? What was your first exposure to it?
My first exposure actually just spent the weekend at Notre Dame. My uncle was a union waterproofer out of Chicago, Illinois, and they split the waterproofing and roofing with the general laborers. He was a general laborer, so that's kind of got my first exposure. Is kind of just going on a trip with them.
You hung out with your uncle, who's a roofer, waterproofer. And so, did it immediately click, or did it sort of kind of in and around roofing a little bit?
Well, I think it was a little bit of a selfish decision. I saw, I saw one of his paycheck stubs one time, and I'm like, I want to make that kind of money. So he ended up putting me in touch with his superintendent at the company he was at, and he's like, well, the general laborers aren't hiring, but the roofers union is taking names on the list. And I went down to the local 11 in Chicago Head Park and put my name on the list. I think about 2 months later is when I ended up getting a phone call and got my first assignment to Malcor Roofing. And Malcor Roofing at that time was one of the oldest roofing companies in the Chicagoland area. I think they're over 100 years old right now. So I went to work for them
Wow.
as an apprentice, and I after that I never looked back.
So, what were the earlier things they put you into?
I mean, typical picking up trash on the roof. I think within the first 2 weeks they took me off of trash duty. I did so well because nobody would tell me what the trash was. So I ended up throwing away. They pre-cut a bunch of wall flashings. There's about $30,000 worth, and I threw it in the dumpster. Of course, they made me pick it out, but it was my first experience on how to get taken off of doing a job you don't want to do, and picking up trash is not fun.
And then what were you doing from then?
From then, I basically kind of went around the roof and just learned all the different parts and pieces that went into it. I partnered up with the lead man who did a lot of the detail work, and at that time, built up was still running pretty heavy in Chicagoland area. So I learned how to detail pipes, flash drains, put drain leads in, all different types of stuff like that. I think by the end of my second year, I was doing journeyman work as a first year, second year apprentice.
Did you work in that company long? What sort of did you move around? How did that work?
I was with them for about 2 years. I never, fully finished my apprenticeship there. The recession of 2008 hit, so I actually went to work to Caterpillar. My mom had a reputation at Caterpillar. She was working for them directly, so I got into the logistics side there for a couple of years. And I relocated down to North Carolina. Went to work for Baker Roofing in 2013. I went from a regular roofer to project manager probably within 3 years of being there. Um, One of the fastest career trajectories there at Baker Roofing. So that's kind of where I cut my teeth on the management side. Did really well for myself as far as building a reputation around that company. People knew me there. They never seen my face. They're pretty large. They've heard my name in conversation. It was never bad.
Did that transition come easy for you, or there's a bunch of stuff you had to learn?
There was a lot of stuff to learn, because being from the field, I think my first transition into kind of overseeing projects, my project manager would give me stacks of paper. I think the huge transition was going from doing all the, having papers handed to you to creating those documents in paper, working within the digital realm. I think that's even still to this day, a lot of, roofers have been in it who started out pen and paper, transitioning to in the industry now is utilizing technology, and I think that was the biggest struggle. But for me, I've always been a lifelong learner, so I started doing like Coursera courses to learn like data analysts, how to build a schedule. We had some really good mentors and trainers. The chief estimator at Baker Roofing showed me how to use Bluebeam. Became really, really proficient. I had the opportunity to cross paths with him probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and then I began showing him stuff on Bluebeam that he never learned.
What sort of tips do you give people interested in pursuing roofing?
I tell them it's not for the weak. It is a tough industry from a field standpoint, from an even a management standpoint. It's over the years I've had the opportunity to watch the industry evolve. I say before when I started and first got in, a lot of things were done with handshakes, and I've kind of watched the transition go into a more litigious state, especially when it comes to roofing. It's just watching the evolution of the industry, how things have, the different initiatives have changed. Watching the labor go down. The all the different dynamics of roofing. You have to be prepared for constant change, and I think that's when I say it's not meant for the weak. Being flexible and being able to adjust with the conditions as they arise is one of the biggest strengths that anybody can have coming into the roofing industry.